most elegant guest. Fellow Toastmasters, Josh and family. After I'd competed in the World Public Speaking Championship, I was starting to think I was pretty good. Until I got brought down by a simple statement. I spoke at a Rotary Club one time, and the guy said, "Wow, you're way better than the speaker that spoke last week." I said, "Oh yeah, how was that?" "Yeah, he spoke for 30 minutes and said nothing. He said, you managed to do it in 7. And then I've often been invited to be a motivational speaker. And I thought, a lot of those motivational speakers had their own evangelical TV shows, and many of them ended up in jail. I didn't think that I'd be able to go around and say, "Rob, you're motivated." "Karen, you're already motivated." "You're motivated, Josh, you're motivated. You're okay. You're motivated." And I got to thinking, that could be dangerous. I didn't want to end up in jail. I realized that to be motivated, it has to come from within. How many have heard that before? Well, it still comes, though, with something I might say that triggers something in your imagination. Any of you ever had an aha? No, this is yes. Harvey had yes. He thought it was the old, no. We're getting participation. But here's the key. If you have an aha, I upgraded that, actually. I now refer to it as an epiphany. My buddy said, "Oh, you're really upgrading your vocabulary bit from ahas to epiphanies." Okay, Confucius said, "Man who laughed last not likely got a joke." It's all right. But an epiphany or an aha is only as good as the action you take. Master Motivators is the club in this community to help you go to another level. To help you get the kinds of evaluations that you might need, but also to stretch what you're doing. When we talk about the topic, are leaders made or are they born? I met with Dave Douglas last week, who's written the book, Leading the Way, Step-by-Step Leadership. I had a great luncheon with him. This book, Leaders, this strategy for taking charge. It's interesting, I hadn't even looked at the dedication. My son gave that to me for Christmas about 20 years ago. I thought that was interesting. And then the other one that I looked at was The Leader's Edge. But what I wanted to talk about is the book called The Talent Code. Because that is a big question. Is talent made or is talent born? Very often we say, "Oh, it's such a natural." Well, in Coyle's book, The Talent Code, he said there are 3 things that he found for sure that enable talent to be made. You could apply these same 3 things to Toastmasters. The first one is inspiration, or as he says, ignition. The second is master coaching. And the third is deep practice. How many have read or come across The Outliers, the book The Outliers, by Malcolm Gladwell? And he says in there, from the research done by Erickson, if you want to be great, it's 10,000 hours. But the part that people who read that book missed is 10,000 hours of deep practice. That's why being a member of a Toastmasters club and constantly upgrading gives you the opportunity to have the deep practice. That's how leaders are made, not born. One of the books that inspired me in my later years when a group of 16 and 17-year-old boys invited me to come out of semi-retirement to coach them again in volleyball. The book was Flight of the Buffalo, a leadership book, because he said in North America, James Oblesko, who wrote the book, said in North America, we've had the Buffalo leadership model. And that meant, where the leader goes, everybody follows. What happened to the buffalo? Well, as Patrick just indicated, they went over the cliff. That's what the early First Nations people did. They had them, as soon as we get that head buffalo heading in that direction, the rest will follow right over the cliff. What did the settlers figure out? We've got guns. We'll just figure out who the head buffalo is and then shoot it. And they all stand around. Flight of the buffalo. We need to use the geese metaphor. What do you know about geese? Anything? They fly in a V. They fly in that V because they have the direction that they want to head, and they say to the leader, you take us there. Oh, by the way, when you hear them all in the back, what do you think they're saying?
Go, go, go.
Go, yeah, that's it, yeah. Yeah, you people know geese talk. It's go, keep it up, you're doing great, keep it up. Did you know that they changed that leadership? Yes, you knew that. Did you know it's every 7 minutes? Yes. They change every 7 minutes. But here's one of the very interesting parts. And Belasco talks about it in Flight of the Buffalo. If one of them gets injured, two go down and look after the one that's injured. John Ireland said one of the reasons she's a member of Master Motivators is because she gets an opportunity every single meeting to be an evaluator. And she said, that sharpens my skills because we use the round robin evaluation. That's having more opportunities to help in every meeting. But as Jan said, I have to be sharp because I know that I'm going to have to think of something that will support that person. There's several other characteristics that I've come across that absolutely are essential if you want to be a leader. One is, you might want to read the book, The Adversity Quotient. Very simply says, we used to think IQ was going to judge where you're going to be. Then the big one was EQ. How many of you know what EQ is? Emotional quotient. It's AQ. It's adversity quotient. And in the book, Adversity Quotient at Work, he talks about climbers, campers, and quitters. Colin said to me one of the motivations that he had in being an early member of this club, the Master Motivators, was that many people would get through a certain part of their manuals and then drop out, maybe even finish their CC and drop out. Those are quitters. But then we got a whole bunch of them are hanging out there as campers. You want to be a leader, become a climber. Keep looking for new ways to get better. We have an opportunity. If you want to be motivated, you can come and join the Master Motivators Club. And if you'd by any chance like to hear the rest of my speech some other time, no, I'm just kidding. Pat Johnson is my heroine. She's going to be your next speaker, and I better leave some time for her. Thank you, Mr. Master Motivator.